This is a free sample of the book, The Financial Red Pill by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/finance. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/finance.
Intro. Society has failed you. Do you know what the problem is with most personal finance books? They're shit. Unbelievable, incomprehensible shit. Now, I'm not some grudge-holding wannabe get-rich guru writer searching for meaningful tactics in a haze of faux literature marketed as the last book you'll ever need on finance, when in reality it turns out to be nothing more than a collection of platitudes on positive thinking and budgeting suggestions. No, I'm talking about the lack of specificity, not a pervasive element in today's personal financial writing. In all my years as a financial planner, I found out quickly that the better I knew my clients, the better advice I could give them. There were those that were looking for just a hot tip and told me nothing about what they were hoping to accomplish. Those were the ones I couldn't be of any help to. But then, there were those who would tell me everything about themselves, and I was able to give them the most specific plans for achieving their goals. Moral of the story is the more I specifically know about the client, the better advice I could give them. Now fast forward to right now. You are reading a book published for the masses to pick up and devour. How could I possibly know a thing about you and your situation? This is where most personal finance books fail. The advice they offer up is too general and overly vague. Largely it's because the publishers want it to appeal to everybody. So none of the advice is narrowed down to reach any one individual with their own specific needs. This is where you hear the same tired advice like, save 10% of all you make, cut out the Starbucks latte, and buy an index fund. Here's the problem with that advice. If you only do what everyone else does, you'll never get ahead of anyone else. You cannot do exactly what others do and expect to outperform, particularly if everyone is buying an index fund. Who could possibly see better than average results in their financial lives? So I, the author, have made it the mission of this book to help one specific class of readers, one that I know very well because I've been part of it. That class is what I refer to as the OSOM, the ordinarily shit-on male. Who is the ordinary shit-on male? That's any guy in today's world that was not born with the silver spoon. He's not a CEO nor a celebrity. He was not so lucky as to pick the right major at the right time that got him the rare skills in a new, hot industry that managed to make him a rare commodity where he could name his price at the job he's offered, or better yet, begged to take. And he certainly isn't a guy that was born so incredibly handsome that he got to benefit from beauty privilege his entire life. Instead, this fellow was stuffed into the scam of the century, college, right after high school, and told to pick a career before he was even old enough to drink. Maybe he picked up something useful, maybe not. But nonetheless, he learned a lot of useless shit and got sacked with lots of needless debt. This was the first shit taken on him, because a lie was force-fed down his throat that without an education, he couldn't get a job and become a functioning member of society. Next, he was stuffed into a job that was nothing like what the job description in the posting made it sound like. He was told it would be interesting office work with meaningful impact. But in reality, it turned out to just be a routine monotony of busy work that amounted to nothing more than the bitch duties that his corporate overlords felt too self-important to do. Perhaps he was once proud of his job title and enjoyed coming into work. But after months turning into years of results not reflecting his efforts, he became jaded and dreaded going to work. Then, after bringing home the little money his job allowed him to have, a large portion of it was confiscated from him in taxes. He had no say in the matter of how his tax dollars were spent, and they were often spent on an agenda that further didn't favor him, but rather an agenda that sees him as a privileged participant in the economy that needs to be cut down in the name of fairness. This jading continues as his bills stack up while the quality of his life declines. He would often make compromises stoically, but now he's feeling personally attacked. Not just financially, but his character was under assault from all directions. On Facebook, multiple memes and postings can be found that say the average male, particularly the single ones, are a menace to society. They're racists, rapists, privileged, and oppressors of all who are different from them. If this man is married, which is becoming a rarer condition this day and age, he often has little to no say in how the small amount of money left over from taxes and bills is spent. The wife will dictate what it goes to, and quite often, those dictations are for things that make her happy at his expense, yielding no reciprocal happiness for him. In a free society, he ought to be able to sever himself from such a damaging relationship, but divorcing himself from this dictator carries even heavier financial consequences for him, because society's imperatives are very unforgiving of the divorced male. Worse yet, the leftover money is spent on the children, raising them to continue the cycle and perpetuate the madness of this society that shits on males and inspires lifelong misery. How bad is the misery? For evidence of it, look no further than the suicide rates for men in America. Men are killing themselves left and right. Nobody talks about it. There are many arguments over what the cause is. Some blame the fempowerment mandate, which could very well be true, as it makes men feel unwelcomed and uncared for in this world. Others will say it's the lack of give-a-shit society has for young men and their problems. Women often have a close social circle that serves as a support group to encourage her success in life. Men, however, have no such thing. Whatever the cause, money can help. Most personal finance books are so general, they're barely practical. This one is for a narrow audience, the ordinary shit-on male. The OSOM has spent his life doing what other people expected of him. He's done his best to stay out of trouble in prison. He's been passed over for promotions because it doesn't help his employer look like a lover of diversity. But he still goes to work to remain responsible for his life. He tries to do the right thing despite never getting a break. He does what he can to make others happy, often at the expense of his own. When I wrote Never Ghosted Again, I wrote that if you merely wait for the universe and the lords of randomness to drop your ideal woman in your lap, you will never have your dream fulfilled and become miserable. In the same way, if you concede that power to the universe and the lords of randomness that rule it when it comes to your personal financial situation, you'll never reach your full financial potential in life and be miserable again. This is the personal finance book that all men need to read. It has been written specifically for the OSOM in mind, and all advice herein is catered to make him the prosperous male. Like in my days as a financial planner, personal financial planning is more personal than it is financial. While I, the author, may not know you personally, I know of the struggles that men suffer at the stranglehold of social imperatives. And that is what has qualified me to write this book, and what qualifies you to read it, presuming you fit the model for the OSOM described earlier. This book is not for everyone. It's for the man that's tired of having to shit out money left and right for the happiness of others, with none left for his own. It's for the man who fears becoming broke and zeroed out. In the most ideal of circumstances, you're 14 years old and haven't made any major financial decisions in your life. That being said, you will also greatly benefit if you are in college, or a recent graduate, ready to get started in life. Further, the practical advice in this book will also work for the married career man and the recently divorced down on his luck. The reason to get this area of your life right is for 3 particular reasons. 1, life is short. The fact of the matter is that we are all going to die, and our existence will have been forgotten a few years later. Depressing to say, I know, but it's no less true. During the first few short years of your life, many others are trying to enrich themselves off you. Employers will shortchange you. The education industry will scam you. The consumerism economy will persuade you to spend, and women will use you. My message to you is this. If you buy groceries, wear clothes, watch TV, listen to radio, drive a car, or even just surf the internet, a lot of people are making a lot of money off you. Why shouldn't you get in on the wealth? I'll show you how. And the best part is that everything I'll show you is 100% legal and 100% ethical. Number 2, life is ruled by randomness. One of the most difficult things for the human mind to understand is the concept of random. There are some that became rich overnight from a silly YouTube video, and then there are some that remain in poverty despite working their asses off. In life, results will vary case by case, and much will remain beyond your control. That being said, it does not mean that he who makes an intentional effort of determinism to amass wealth is doomed to fail by the wrath of randomness. While not all the haphazards of life and the universe can be avoided, they can be managed. This book will show you how. Your existence does not have to be ruined by the random whims of the world, and it can even be a happy one. Number 3, life is not free. Despite the high cost of living, it remains popular. Everywhere you go, there are billers, merchants, and tax collectors with their hands out, demanding money from you. All you need to do is breathe. From the moment we're born, we incur costs. Luckily, our inability to pay them is covered by our parents, but we become fully responsible for them the day we reach adulthood. If you eat, drink, sleep, piss, shit, travel, or even breathe, your existence comes with a cost. Immense freedom comes when that cost is covered for the rest of your life. In this book, I will show you how to attain that, the concept of fuck you money. The matter of money is very personal to me, as I have spent my working career as a financial advisor and educator. That is why, unlike my last book, I chose to write this one in the first person. I believe that the lack of financial literacy and critical thinking on money matters is the cause of at least 50% of the world's problems. The education industry has done a poor job of preparing us for the real world, and on purpose, I believe. It is my duty to right this wrong. Let us begin with unplugging from the bullshit we've been fed about money. Let us see the secrets on how it works that have been kept from us. Let us explore how we were raised to become slaves without even knowing it. Soon, you will see the way money works behind the scenes to run the world, like the coding of the Matrix. And you'll be able to reshape it, like Neo does, to rise above the oppression of the world pulled down over his eyes. The financial red pill. But first we have a disclaimer and a caution. You see, we live in a world today with lawyers and a bunch of lazy people that don't want to take responsibility for their lives. Now, thankfully, it's probably not you since you're reading this book. You do want to take responsibility for your lives. But we got people in this world that just want to get by suing other people because they're lazy. So, here's the disclaimer and the caution if you continue to listen. You are responsible for your own actions and behavior. None of this book is considered legal, personal, medical, or financial advice. By continuing to read this book, or listen to this book since this is the audible version, you hereby indemnify and hold the author, publisher, and parent company, Reinvent Ideal, as well as its directors, officers, agents, attorneys, owners, employees, and successors, and assigns harmless from any loss, liability, claim, demand, including reasonable as well as unreasonable attorney's fees, from any loss, liability, damage, and cost arising from, or in any way related to any contents of this book. You accept full responsibility and liability for actions and results from using any products, services, or suggestions made inside this book and its supplemental resources. Reinvent Ideal specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any techniques or contents of this book or manual or supplemental materials provided. By continuing to read or listen to this book, you agree that you are voluntarily participating in these activities and assume all risks of injury, physical, financial, or other, yourself that might occur, and acknowledge it is your responsibility to decide if you want to follow the contents of this book or not. You are responsible for yourself and release all liability from Reinvent Ideal and its owners. Before acting on anything in this book, seek the advice of a competent professional. Alright, we got that out of the way to satisfy the lawyers. Now we can get on with your financial education.
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book, The Financial Red Pill, by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/finance. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/finance.